I did a video on season 1 of Yellowjackets last year, so it really makes sense that season 2, now that it's finished and aired, I do a video on this as well. I really loved the first season. I thought it was a very unexpected surprise. Didn't expect, the show to be as intense and as interesting as it was. I don't think anyone did. And it turned out to be one of the biggest surprises on television over the last couple of years, and so naturally, I was excited to see where season 2 would go, and this picks up exactly where the first season left off. The past Yellowjackets, the story that's being told while they were in the woods, in the forest, trapped. Things are getting more scarce and food is getting more and more short in terms of supply. In terms of the present day, they covered up a murder, the adult Yellowjackets, and now they're facing some troubles because there seems to be people after them as a result of that. There's a cult that's being run by another Yellowjacket who has survived the crash, and she's got some stuff going on with her. That's the vague description of putting it together, because there's a lot of stuff happening in season 2, but I'm not gonna go too much into every single detail, because if you haven't seen the season yet or waiting to start binging it, you're probably in the process of doing that right now. But I'll talk more about some things in a second. But I did enjoy season 2 overall. Not quite as much as season 1. I think this one is not as well paced as the first one, or as finely tuned, and there's definitely some things in terms of subplots that I don't think work quite as well. Some get a little too dragged out, like there is the subplot revolving around the police sort of narrowing in on Shauna Melanie Linsky's family, because they're like, well, you were having an affair with this guy, and we are of the belief that you might have had to do something with his murder, or he's gone somewhere. Where is he? And so there is naturally a bit of, stuff going on over there when it comes to trying to get that information, and it's not quite as interesting. But the stuff with the past this time is really, really interesting. It goes full-blown horror. There are things that are happening at that cabin now, and things that the survivors are starting to see, which are genuinely very creepy and terrifying, and they're doing things as a result of it which are pretty creepy and terrifying. And like I said, food is in shortage, so they're having to make some tough decisions when it comes to what they're eating as well. And eventually, and this is where I go a little bit into some details, so you've been warned, and spoilers here, it goes full cannibalism. There is definitely a lot of people eating in this one. Not a ton, but enough that, you can actually look at it and go, wow, that was a lot. That happened. And this show fully commits to that fact that that's how they were starting to survive after a while. And the thing is, the show has a way of handling it in a way that seems more ethereal than it is, but, they're eating people. It's come to this. Which makes the show a lot more demented to watch at times. The performances, everybody, again, is doing so well when it comes to the realism of these, the desperation of these characters. All of that has to be commended. A few standouts in this season I thought were Sophie Nélisse, who plays the young Shauna. She has an episode in the middle where she's having to give birth because she's pregnant. That episode, outstanding. But also the other characters who are playing the younger versions of those characters, I think did a great job. Once again, across the board, people like Sophie Thatcher, who I talked about earlier this weekend with The Boogeyman. And I did say in that video that this is going to be the second one I do with her, and she was great in it as well. Jasmine Savoy Brown was excellent. I think there was no real, off performance when it came to those things. I thought Samantha Henry, I believe her name is, who plays the young Christina Ricci character, she was great in it as well. Then Christina Ricci was great as well. The Adele cast also did a great job. They've aged up a few characters, obviously, because of the casting stuff, so, there's definitely new people who've come in to play some characters. For example, there's a character, Van. The adult version of that character was not in the first season, but she's in the second season. And they got Lauren Ambrose to play her. And if you've seen Servant, then you know her recently, like she was in that. She's excellent. And it's another case of they cast exactly right for an adult character over here. And, great job on that front. As far as other characters go, Elijah Wood's in this. He plays a really bizarre character named Walter, so that's there. That's happening in this. Yeah, Great addition to the series. Frankly, Elijah Wood's recent stuff when it comes to handling, weird, bizarre things in this genre, great. Keep him coming because he seems to have found his wheelhouse and he's very much committed to that. And I respect the hell out of it for that. Like I said, it's not always as tightly written. There are some things going on that aren't particularly as finely tuned as the first season was. The stuff that's going on with this present day, cult sort of group that is being headed by one of their members who survived the crash. She's had a very traumatic past that has led to this. And she's of the belief that whatever was haunting them is coming back and it's going to come after them again. And so it leads to a lot of moments where characters are sort of starting to realize they have to face these demons that they've been running away from. That's an interesting thing, but I think there are some points where I think it could have been a little more tightly edited or expanded upon. That's where I think the show does suffer a little bit. Still, I think overall the story comes together really, really nicely. I think some of the moments with other character dynamics work a lot better. Like I said, the past stuff is where we're really in this season. We're a lot more in the things that were going on in the forest. All of that stuff's great. I don't have any issues with any of that. It's just some of the times when we're in the present day adult stuff that I feel like it could be a little less interesting as compared to the first season. But overall, aside from a few shortcomings here and there, it was still engaging, and by the end of the season it's very, very investing. So I still enjoyed season 2 overall. I still think it's a good follow-up to season 1 in many ways. Again, not quite as strong, and it does give a lot of the answers that, questions in season 1 that were raised were big enough that you thought it would last a little longer, but we get some stuff out the gate very quickly, and so it does do that. But I still had a very good time with it, and I still recommend checking it out if you are a fan of the show, and I'm excited to see season 3 as and when that happens. I'm gonna give Yellowjackets season 2 a B+. I'm curious as to how many of you guys have seen it, season 1, or watched season 2 so far. Let me know if you have. Thoughts below, please feel free to share. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to more videos very, very soon. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe, and a very happy streaming to everyone.